I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even move. Because when his hand hit my mouth in front of everyone, something far more dangerous than anger woke up inside me. And while he stood there smiling, thinking he had put me in my place, I was already deciding how to end him without ever touching him again. They laughed, not loudly, not comfortably. The kind of laughter people give when they don't know whether they're allowed to laugh, but do it anyway to survive the moment. I remember that first, the sound. We were at his office's quarterly celebration. Glass walls, catered food, polished shoes, fake smiles. One of those corporate events where everyone pretends they're a family while secretly counting promotions like battlefield wins. I had never liked these gatherings, not because I didn't fit in, but because I fit too well. I stood beside my husband, Marcus, holding a champagne glass I hadn't touched. He was in his element, laughing louder than necessary, arm draped over shoulders that weren't mine, soaking in admiration like oxygen. Someone made a comment about overtime. I smiled and said, casually, "Well, at least they pay you enough to forget you're always married to your job." It was light, harmless, a joke couples make all the time. But Marcus stiffened. I felt it before I saw it. The subtle shift in his body, the tightening of his jaw. His coworkers went quiet. One of them coughed. And then, smack! His palm hit my mouth. Hard, open-handed, deliberate. Right there, in front of everyone. For a second, the room disappeared. The music kept playing, but it sounded far away. My ears rang, not from the slap, but from the realization that this man felt entitled to silence me. Marcus leaned in and whispered through a forced smile, "Don't embarrass me again." I tasted blood, and I swear, in that moment, something inside me locked into place. No one said a word. Not his boss, not HR, not the woman standing 2 feet away who saw everything. They all looked at me like I was the problem. I slowly dabbed my mouth with a napkin, then I smiled. Not a shaky smile, not a hurt one, a calm, composed, deadly smile. "Excuse me," I said softly, "I need some air." Marcus didn't follow me. That should have told him everything. In the bathroom mirror, I stared at myself, lips swelling, eyes too steady. I expected tears. They never came. Instead, I remembered things. The first time he raised his voice, the jokes he made at my expense, how often I apologized just to keep the peace, and I understood something with terrifying clarity. This wasn't new, it was just public. I walked back in 10 minutes later. Marcus laughed nervously. "You okay?" he asked. I nodded. Perfect. That night, he slept peacefully. I didn't. I planned. By morning, I wasn't his wife anymore. I was his consequence. People think revenge looks loud. It doesn't. It looks like patience. The next week, I played my role perfectly, packed his lunches, smiled at his jokes, touched his arm when his coworkers were around, and I watched. Marcus loved talking about work. He never noticed how closely I listened. He didn't realize I remembered names, titles, internal politics. He didn't notice when I started asking innocent questions. Who's the compliance officer again? Do you record meetings? Is HR outsourced or internal? Men like Marcus mistake silence for stupidity. That was his second mistake. My background wasn't flashy, but it was sharp. Contracts, documentation, processes, and I had something priceless. Witnesses. I didn't reach out immediately. I waited until the bruise on my lip faded, but the memory didn't. Because one person speaking up is emotional, but 5, that's a pattern. The first email was anonymous. Simple. An incident occurred at the Q3 celebration involving a senior staff member and his spouse. Multiple witnesses are prepared to confirm. HR responded within 48 hours. Then I sent the second email. This one included dates, times, names. Then the third. This one included policy violations. Marcus came home irritated. "They're asking weird questions at work," he said. "Probably some jealous idiot." I handed him dinner. "People are sensitive these days," I replied. He laughed. I didn't. Behind the scenes, the machinery was moving. An internal review, private interviews, security footage requests. Turns out, glass walls record reflections beautifully. The slap was no longer just a slap. It was evidence. Marcus stopped sleeping well. He snapped at me for folding towels wrong, for breathing too loudly, for nothing. That's when I knew. Fear had entered the room. One night, he grabbed my wrist. "Did you tell anyone?" he demanded. I met his eyes calmly. "Tell them what?" He let go. Apologized. Bought flowers the next day. That was mistake number 3, because flowers don't erase files. And HR doesn't care about apologies. He wore his best suit. I watched him tie his tie in the mirror, hands shaking slightly. "Wish me luck," he said. I kissed his cheek. "Break a leg." 3 hours later, his boss called. He didn't answer. When Marcus came home, his face was gray. "They're putting me on administrative leave," he whispered. I poured myself a glass of water. "For what?" They said there's a pattern of aggressive behavior, abuse of power, domestic conduct concerns. He looked at me then, really looked, and for the first time, he understood. But the worst part? I still wasn't done. Administrative leave turned into suspension. Suspension turned into termination. No severance, no references, just a quiet exit and a locked email account. His industry is small. People talk. Marcus applied everywhere. No one called back. At home, the silence grew heavier. One night, he asked, "Why didn't you say anything that night?" I answered honestly, "Because I wanted you to think you won." And that broke him more than anger ever could. I filed for divorce quietly. No drama, no courtroom theatrics, just paperwork and signatures. He didn't fight it. Men like Marcus don't fight when they know they've lost control. The last thing he said to me was, "I didn't think it would go this far." I smiled softly. I did. Some men think humiliation is power. It isn't. Power is knowing when to stay silent while the world rearranges itself in your favor. He slapped my mouth to stop a joke, and in doing so, he silenced his own future. Because respect isn't optional, and once you lose it, no title can save you. If this story reminded you that silence can be louder than screams, subscribe for more SoulSpeak Stories, where quiet strength always wins.